So we're good to go. All right. Thank you, Antonia. Technically, we are already in session because we just took a break from our work session, so we will not need the roll call. We've already established the quorum, and I might mention to you folks, any of you, that this is the first time there is a copy of the guidelines outside the door there. If you need to refresh those being the guidelines for our procedure as we conduct our meeting this evening. So we will get back on track here and start with the moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. We use a moment of silence here in the town of Benton so that everyone can pray or meditate as they see fit. If you pray, and I hope you choose to do so, I certainly will be praying. I would ask you to keep this country, this community, and this council meeting in your thoughts and prayers. And with that, I'll ask you to stand. Who's going to do the pledge tonight, sir?
Well, last time I was going to let Cody do it, and then I rudely interrupted him. So I think this time I'm going to let Cody do it.
Cody, you're giving her a chance, bro.
We're rooting for you.
Your third grade teacher would be proud of that.
Face the flag. Pledge allegiance to the republic.
The United States of America,
And to
the republic which stands
one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for
Sorry, folks, I cut the prayer time a little bit short, but I'm sure most of you guys know that Charles Spurgeon once said, I may not pray for long, but I won't be long from prayer. So, something to keep in mind. And with that, we'll move on to community events and announcements, and that is typically handled by Councilman McCarty.
September the 7th, this Saturday, we are doing the Benton Pink Warrior Walk. It's at 5 o'clock at the Farmers Market. You can still register online at bentonva.gov/Pink Warrior Walk. So please do come. It's the first time that we've done it. We are excited to say we have more registrations now than we thought that we would. So we're hoping in the last couple of days to really give it a push. But please come out and walk. I'm sure that everyone knows someone that's been affected by that. So I think it's a great event that we're starting. We're going to walk downtown Benton. So please come out and support us. Also, first Saturdays is September the 7th at the museum, and that's a holiday open house. Well, no. Sorry. Forget I said that one because September the 7th is first Saturday, so I guess it'll be open that day, according to this. Okay, back to my script. Benton Fall Festival is at 10 a.m. at the War Memorial on October the 12th, October the 14th. Town offices are closed in observance of Columbus Day. October 26th, the Shred event at the War Memorial from 10 to 1. That's a great event. Well attended. Please come with all your shred. And then don't forget our annual downtown trick or treat. At our downtown locations, we block off the streets, and that is at 3 p.m. September the 14th from 7 to 10 is the next mingle at the market, at the Farmers Market, and Gasoline Alley and Filthy Souls and Mountain Grill will be there. And as always, we encourage you to visit all of our many restaurants and entertainment venues in our community and their websites for more information. And as always, if you're looking for something to do in Benton, you can go to the In Benton Facebook page, and don't forget to like and share. I think that's all. Did I miss anything?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I understand the Mingles have had some great turnout this year with good music and good weather. Great combination. Okay, with that, we'll move on to some council activities. Councilmember Mullins,
Yes, sir.
please.
On August the 21st and 29th, Councilmember McCarty and myself attended the Pink Warrior Walk meeting. On August the 29th, Mayor Gross and myself attended the State of the City at Hotel Roanoke.
Okay.
Short and sweet this
All
time.
right. Thank you. It is summer, right? Yes. Next item is request to postpone or change the order of the agenda. Folks, nothing. Hearing nothing, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Tonight it contains the minutes of the regular meeting of August 20th, 2024. Are there any changes or additions?
Mr. Mayor, I'll move consent agenda.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda and a second. Please, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. As we approach our citizens' comments section, I have a little bit of information to pass along to you folks. Later in the agenda, matter of fact, the next item, this council is planning to open a joint public hearing with the Planning Commission to consider an amendment to our local zoning ordinances regarding all proposed future medical and dental clinics be required to undergo the process of requesting a special use permit. If approved, these amendments would allow Town Council to fully consider all potential impacts of all future medical and dental facilities being proposed within our town limits before they are issued a zoning permit and are allowed to be opened. This potential zoning update would not, however, impact any existing medical facility or dental facility currently operating or previously approved through the existing by right authorization within GB, M1, or M2 zoning districts. Those wishing to express their comments on this specific item will be provided an opportunity to speak during the public comment section of the upcoming public hearing, which, as I say, will be the next item. Anyone else here this evening to speak on another matter is encouraged to do so at this time. If not, we will proceed to the public hearing. So basically, does anyone have anything to talk about other than the item in the public hearing? All right. If not, we will in fact move on to the public hearing for this evening. And of course, this is a public hearing to consider comments concerning an ordinance on proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance. And the way this works, I'll open the public hearing. We'll receive a report from staff, and then we'll receive public comments. Each of you will have up to 3 minutes. And then council and the planning session will have an opportunity to ask questions or discuss it as they see fit. And so with that, I will officially open the public hearing and ask Mr. McClung to give our staff report, please.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good
Members
evening,
of the Council, members of the Planning Commission. This staff report is on the proposed amendments. These proposed amendments would require medical and dental clinic uses to obtain a special use permit or SUP permit in all commercial districts or industrial districts where they're currently permitted by right. It would additionally require all hospitals to attain a SUP permit in GB, M1, and M2. 6 principles concerning special use permits before I go into the justifications for these proposed amendments. Number 1, special use permits are legislative in nature. Number 2, uses allowed by special use permit are considered to have a potentially greater impact than those allowed by a matter of right or by right. Special use permits must be evaluated under reasonable standards based on zoning principles. Impacts from special use permits are addressed through conditions, and these conditions must be reasonably related to the impacts to be addressed, and to the extent the conditions must be roughly proportional to the impacts. So it's a twofold test. They have to be reasonably related to the impacts and roughly proportional in nature to the impacts. And finally, the decisions by a governing body granting or denying SUP are presumed correct and reviewed under the fairly debatable standard. So getting into the justifications, a lot of this is based on the state code and what the state code allows localities to do, and the charge that the Commonwealth gives to localities in developing zoning ordinances and general planning and land use principles. So starting with the Declaration of Legislative Intent from the Virginia State Code, the code sections in the staff report, but focusing on the 3 principles in the legislative intent section. Number 1, the purpose, the high-level purpose of planning and zoning and land use regulations in the state is to recognize the needs of agriculture, industry, and business and future growth, provide residential areas with healthy surroundings for family life, and 3rd, to provide for growth that is consonant with the efficient and economic use of public funds. Going more narrow, the purpose of zoning ordinances and developing zoning ordinances and the state code sections before you. The 4 principles I would like to highlight is that zoning ordinances are supposed to reduce or prevent congestion in public streets, facilitate the creation of a convenient, attractive, and harmonious society or community, facilitate the provision of adequate services, water, sewer, fire, EMS, and encourage economic development activities that provide desirable employment and enlarge the tax base. Going more narrow, the matters to be considered in drawing and applying your zoning ordinances in districts, the factors to be considered when you're drawing and applying the zoning ordinances in specific districts and on specific properties where an establishment wants to be situated. These principles are, or the ones I want to highlight, are the existing use and character of the property, the suitability of the property for various uses, the trends of growth or change in your community, the current and future requirements of the community as to land for various purposes, the requirement for public services, and the conservation of properties and their values, and the encouragement of the appropriate uses of land throughout the town. And then the final code section actually is in our Vinton Town Ordinance, specifically about the application of special use provisions, but the consideration of the impacts of a proposed use when you're requiring a special use permit with our locality is to consider the impacts of a proposed use on neighboring properties in deciding whether or not to grant or deny a special use permit, or to impose certain conditions upon an approved use. So with this said, in conclusion, Vinton Town staff find that using the available property in Vinton, which is only 3.2 square miles, we're built out, that using available property in Vinton for a medical or dental facility or hospital could impact the needs of industry and business and future growth, the surroundings of residential areas, the efficient economical use of public funds, congestion in public streets, and all the other state code provisions that were listed previously. With these factors considered, we recommend the change in the zoning ordinance to no longer permit medical and dental facilities and hospitals as a matter of right within a town, but instead to require such uses to undergo the special use permit process. With this, the special use permit process will allow the Planning Commission and Town Council to evaluate, among other factors, those factors I just mentioned when prescribing your zoning ordinances and districts. And with these assessments, encouraging the most appropriate uses for lands throughout the town, the impacts on proposed uses of neighbors or any other surrounding properties, and all the other subject matters listed within the state code that we're supposed to evaluate based on zoning principles and land use. So with that said, that's the staff report. Pending your questions.
Okay. Council, you have any questions for Nathan while he's up here? No. All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that very much. Good job. All right. So we've reached the section where we receive public comments. I would just remind you that we do have a set of citizen guidelines that we adhere to strictly. As I say, a copy of those are available at the door if you need one. And secondly, there's a 3-minute limit on each person making a comment, and we also adhere to that strictly. So with that, if you would please call and of course we'll take the folks that signed up first, and then anyone else can speak.
Ann Russell.
Good evening, Ann.
My name is Ann Thurston Russell. I live at 342 Stonebridge Drive here in Vinton. I'm the CEO for Blue Ridge Women's Center, and I also serve as the Vice President of the Virginia Coalition of Pregnancy Centers. Good evening. I've stood before you several times since we all learned about the abortion clinic moving to our beautiful town. I have shared my personal story and posed multiple questions for you to ponder as you sought to find solutions to keep Vinton abortion free. The one thing I've done the most is pray. I have prayed for town council, Pete, and everyone else involved in this process. My prayer has been and continues to be for all of you to have a holy boldness to do what is right even when it's hard. The citizens of Vinton and surrounding areas need you to do whatever it takes to protect women and girls from a business that is as dangerous as an abortion clinic. Make no mistake, there are many people in this room, in this town, in Roanoke County, and in the Commonwealth of Virginia who understand Vinton was strategically picked as a place to put another abortion clinic because of our close proximity to the I-81 corridor. The abortion industry could smell blood in the water, so to speak. Last week, I sat around a table with multiple life-affirming leaders throughout Virginia. After looking at abortion stats for the Commonwealth since the Dobbs decision, we had confirmation of what you have been hearing from this podium for months. Roanoke is an abortion destination. That is why Summit chose Vinton. We also reviewed astonishing information related to trafficking victims. The average is 12 abortions for trafficked women. Do we want traffickers dropping off victims at 3rd Street and then cruising our streets or the Williamsburg parking lot for their next victim? I have shared the free yet valuable resource of founding Freedom's Law Group. This organization offers documents and guidance that could stop the clinic from performing abortions in Vinton. Although I'm very thankful for this proposed zoning ordinance that is to be voted on tonight, it doesn't stop Summit. It simply is not enough. I'm asking you to keep Vinton safe and abortion-free. Do whatever it takes. Doing the right thing will always cost us something. I, as well as many others in this room, commit to stand shoulder to shoulder with you to stop Summit. Finally, if you are a Bible-believing Christian, the Bible is very clear on the issue of life. Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations." You have been appointed by the citizens of the town of Vinton. So perhaps each of you were born for such a time as this, for an opportunity to leave a legacy of life, not just for the born, but for the unborn.
Thank you, Ann.
Flippin.
Mel Flippin, 715 Spruce Street. I also greatly approve of changing the ordinance. I also agree that it is not enough. To add to her talks about human trafficking, I hope that the council is aware that the average age of a trafficked woman in the U.S. is 12. That's the average age, people. That means that there are a lot of people under that age. And the abortion industry is one of the best assets that those traffickers have, and we are becoming part of that. We already know that we are a major point in human trafficking. I would also like to remind the council that in Virginia, the allowable time for an abortion for any reason is 6.5 months. These are babies that would be alive in the NICU. If you may be okay with abortion in some cases, but if you would be uncomfortable with someone walking into a NICU, taking those babies out of the incubators and ripping their limbs off one by one while they're screaming, that is exactly what is going to be happening in our city. We may have established legal differences between these children and the children in the NICU, but there is absolutely no difference biologically in the pain that they feel or the suffering they go through. So when the council says that there is nothing they can do, I'm asking you, are you considering that? Have you gone far enough when you think about that? Will you be able to sleep at night knowing that? I will not be able to. And if you are worried about there being trouble in Vinton by backing out of this deal, I will tell you first that I have been on the phone all day with organizations that have far more experience in this than any of us, and all of them thought that it was possible still to get out of this situation. On the other hand, they said there is a lawsuit against Richmond City right now for their irresponsibility in allowing an abortion facility in Richmond. But I would also say the citizens of Vinton will not stand for this. Our town is a town that I have loved because it is known for close community and family values. That is being destroyed by this facility. And while I understand that I have been led to believe that people did not know fully what was coming in, you are the gatekeepers. We elected you to be the gatekeepers. This is on your head. You are responsible for this. You must find a way, because we will stand up against this. And I will hate to see our little town go from being known of a place of family values to a place of controversy. But I tell you, I will protest every way within the legal means, every chance I get, to stop the success of this building. And I will say,
Time's up, Carmen. Sorry.
thank you.
Barry Witt.
My name is Barry Wayne Witt. I'm 3041 Woodway Road, Roanoke, Virginia. Thank God for the boldness of these two ladies. Agree with everything they said, so my message would be the same. It has been brought up by the council that the fight or the battle is in Richmond. Today it's right here in Vinton. Okay. So that is a battle, but here's a battle. And we're willing to fight it together with boldness, knowing that God will prevail. But I'd hate to think that I was against God in making any decision. My dad, where the post office is now, owned a grocery store there when I was a little kid. And man, I remember this place. And a lot of people keep talking about progressing, but I haven't seen nothing but digression since those days. There was a man who boldly stood and wouldn't sell beer or wine or anything like that in this town. And look what we came to now, to a baby killing facility. Please stop it with the ordinance, stop it beyond that. You can do it, but will you do it? I want to pray for you though. God, may you be with these people in a mighty way, Lord. Give them the boldness, that holy boldness someone spoke of, Lord. God, may you reveal their true heart and true self to this community, Lord. Are they with you or against you? Lord, I pray they're for you, Lord. And I pray in the decision that they make, they will understand, God, that as they move in faith and trust in you, Lord, that you're going to show yourself powerfully on their behalf, dear God. You're going to do mighty things with this place. And we give you the praise in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Barry.
Philip Bushy.
Good I am Philip C. Bushy III, 183 Sanderson Ridge Court, Roanoke, Virginia, 24019-1208. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the Town Council, and Vinton staff, thank you for this time tonight to explain again Love Life Roanoke's future presence at 935 3rd Street when Summit Medical opens. Love Life is in the sanctity of life business for all persons, male and female. We perform this ministry along with 45 member churches, trained sidewalk counseling teams, mentors for those who chose life, restoration services for moms recovering from past abortions, and help to those seeking the adoption process. In the Roanoke area year to date, we report 15 saved babies with moms who changed their minds while at our 2 citadels of death. Nationally, Love Life has been blessed with 2 significant achievements. Since the last town council meeting, Love Life has surpassed the 6,000 babies saved level. This is 6,000 precious sons and daughters whose moms, Holy Spirit inspired, literally at death's door, reported their decision of life to a Love Life sidewalk counselor. Prayer, presence, personal follow-up, all the work for moms in need. What can prayer, presence, and personal follow-up also be blessed with? What can Love Life's expanding membership of local churches do? In Matthew 16:19, Jesus says, I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. I can report to you now that for over 22 years, Astra Women's Center in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, was a place of darkness where more than 60,000 sons and daughters were aborted, denying them the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Matthew 16:19 isn't just a metaphor. It is a powerful promise about the church's role in shifting the culture from death to life. The Love Life South Florida team started prayer walks and sidewalk ministry outside the center in 2021. This past June, Jesus answered those prayers and the Astra Women's Center closed. The church now holds the keys to that building, the former abortion clinic. The building that once destroyed lives and families will now be redeemed for God's purposes. Please note that Love Life Roanoke also began our ministry in 2021. Before Summit Medical opens, Love Life Roanoke requests to meet with our police department in order to define a safe area for us to interface with both the incoming and the outgoing clients. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kathy Meckley.
I'm Kathy Meckley. I live at 111 Clipper Circle, Moneta, Virginia. 1 in 3 women worldwide who have had an abortion develop depression. Planned Parenthood doesn't want people to know that a survey taken earlier this year found that 55% of women who call themselves, quote, pro-choice, unquote, struggle emotionally after an abortion. 1/3 of women who've had a chemical abortion, quote, reported an adverse change in themselves, including depression, anxiety, substance abuse, and thoughts of suicide, unquote. Studies prove that women who have abortions have severe psychological and sometimes physical repercussions that last their entire lives. This was me. 45 plus years ago, I had 2 abortions. They were simple, quick, and relatively inexpensive. But the cost to me and my family relationships was not. I struggled for years. It affected my ability to function as a wife and mother. My husband put up with me so much. The emotional pain I thought I had dealt with manifested itself with OCD habits, judgmentalism, anger, intolerance, criticism. I was not the person I wanted to be. Fortunately, about 10 years ago, I learned of the Blue Ridge Women's Center. I attended the Surrendering the Secret Bible study. Healing took time. My marriage survived, and although my sons are productive citizens, I see where my limitations as a mother hindered their development. Abortion is not health care. Summit Medical Center was not forthright with this council, and members of this council did not do your due diligence in learning more about what Summit Medical Center does. True health care is do no harm. When a woman walks into a clinic for an abortion, there are 2 human heartbeats, and when she leaves, there's only one. The baby was disposed of, and the mother will live with her decision for the rest of her life. Since Summit Medical was not forthright with the town council, and thus the Vinton community was not properly informed of their services, I recommend the council revisit the permit that was issued so that proper protocol will be followed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Teresa Pregnall.
Good evening. My name is Teresa Pregnall. I live at 1969 Wineberry Lane, Forest, Virginia. I am speaking on behalf of our membership here in Virginia through Concerned Women for America of Virginia. Vinton is an important part of my history. My grandfather was Gus Nix, past mayor and member of the town council from 1950 until his death in 1979. He loved his life here. Between his work as a small business owner, Nick's Furniture, his work within the church at Vinton Baptist, and his community service through his work as an elected official here, he left a great legacy for me, his only granddaughter, through his actions. Today, I have the privilege of serving as State Director, Concerned Women for America of Virginia. CWA is the nation's largest public policy women's organization. Tonight, I'm here, first of all, to thank you, your public service to the citizens of the town of Vinton. Thank you for this. Thank you for explaining tonight and helping me to understand and gain clarity on what's happening on this position, your position on Summit Medical Center on 3rd Street. Tonight, I am appealing to you on behalf of unborn children and on behalf of every citizen of Vinton yet to be born. Since the Supreme Court decision on Dobbs versus Jackson and the overturning of Roe v. Wade in 2022, there have been 7 new abortion facilities open for business, bringing the total to 27 abortion clinics. Pop-up organizations are being set up all around Virginia, particularly along our borders, for the sole purpose of raising money to pay for these abortions for out-of-state women who come here to kill their babies. Statistics are already clear. Virginia has become an abortion destination. The critical question that I have for you all on the council and mayor is this: with Summit Centers in Detroit and Atlanta, why would this group want to set up shop in Vinton with a population of under 10,000? What nefarious activity will surely come to this peace-filled small town? It is imperative that we begin now to work against the plans for Summit. Scripture says in Isaiah 55, 8 and 9, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways, says the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." I believe that God has given his people here in Vinton, the church, an opportunity to act on your faith. Daniel 9:9 says, "Lord, listen. Lord, forgive. Lord, hear and act." Thank you.
Apologies if I get this wrong. I think it's Patrick Mulligan.
I'm nowhere near as prepared as these great speakers. That was awesome. So I can only ask that you people be brave.
Can you please state your address before you
I live on Toddsbury Drive in Roanoke County. I moved to this area though 15 years ago from Richmond, a dark city, not so good, with a kind of an evil presence over it. You don't want that to happen. This town will never be the same if you allow that. It'll have a dark cloud over it you just won't be able to shake. It won't be like your gambling casino over here that, oh, well, you're making money off of it. It'll just have a darkness of death. It's not right. You people need to be brave and stand up and do the right thing. You've let the cat out of the bag, and now you're trying to, schmooze it with a little ordinance. Oh, like there's going to be another. Well, who knows? You could have another one. But you should stop this one. You should do whatever you can. I hear they stopped Walgreens 15 years ago from coming in here and stood up against a multi-million-dollar corporation. You can go back and stop this. It can be done. Be brave and do whatever you need to do to stand up and stop this. The battleground, like that one guy said, it's here. You're on it right now. Like it or not, you're here. And how much money will the town of Benton make off this? I know they make tons off the gambling casino, but it's not right to profit off something like this in any way. And I'm sorry if I offend you at all, but y'all need to understand these people are good people. This town is a different type of town. It's a small little community. That's what people like me move here from Richmond for. We don't want that, the darkness of death to be in our town. It will never be the same. Have y'all rode over there by it? Have y'all rode down 3rd Street?
Pass it every day on the way here, on the way to work.
You ride? No, you can't pass that on 3rd Street right there. Have you rode down to the abortion clinic? Oh, by the way, it's an abortion clinic.
3rd Street has been there for...
People hate to say that word sometimes. Huh?
50 years 3rd Street's been there.
Yeah, have you rode by the construction site? That's what I'm asking you. I know 3rd Street.
I go home that way every day, so...
But you can't, you would not, unless you live in those apartments right there, you would not go in front of that place. Have any of y'all rode by the site? Have you taken the time to go by the site?
Yes, is the answer. We have.
Okay, I'm getting mixed.
So yes, we go by, he goes by there every day on the way to work.
By the way, it won't be just that. Of course, you'll see big billboard signs saying women's health clinic, women's this or that. It's all these coded words. You have to have that in your neighborhood too. So it won't just be a mile off on 3rd Street there. You'll have the other nasty, misleading stuff to cushion it and remind you though of what you allowed. Please stand up against this. Be brave. Do the right thing for this town. This is the biggest decision you people will make all your life. This truly is. If you allow this death camp to come in our backyard.
Ashley Bree.
My name is Ashley Bry, 2212 Westover Avenue, Southwest Virginia. I am on staff at Blue Ridge Women's Center in Roanoke, Virginia as communications coordinator. I am here to plead with you to do everything within your power to prevent this clinic from coming to the town of Benton. I started at Blue Ridge Women's Center in 2021 when I was just 23 years old. And one of the training videos that I had to watch was a panel from a group, an organization called And Then There Were None. That group was founded by Abby Johnson, who is an ex-Planned Parenthood director who left the abortion industry and had created an organization to help others leave. I had always held a pro-life ethic, but seeing this panel gave me a much darker glimpse into the reality of abortion in our country, the horrors that these women detailed from working at an abortion clinic, the things that they heard, the things that they saw, the things that they experienced were so egregious, it took me several days to watch the video. I have not been the same since hearing the testimony of those women. And I actually got the privilege of meeting some of those women who are called quitters. They left the industry. I met them last year at a conference and thanked them for what they chose to leave behind and using their voice for life, for encouraging life. The medical malpractice, the deception, the lies, the ways that many had turned to addiction to numb the pain of what they were experiencing every day. But they're for women, right? And I'm just here to say I'm advocating, yes, for the innocence of the unborn, but I also want to advocate for the men and the women that are going to be deceived into working in this industry, potentially for years, that they will suffer the consequences of. At Blue Ridge Women's Center, we often end up having to pick up the pieces of the lives of women who've been marred by abortion. And my heart hurts to think of those who will be scarred to work at another clinic like this. Esther 4:14 says, "For if you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place, but you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this." I believe that you have been appointed for such a time as this. Thank you.
Catherine Fagan.
Good evening to everyone here. Thank you so much for your service. I'm sure it's a very tough position, and it's hard to please everyone, isn't it? However, pleasing people is not why we are here. We want to please the Lord. The only thing it takes for evil to triumph is for good men and women to do nothing, to sit back and let it happen. Now, you were definitely mistreated by being lied to. The information was, oh, by the way, my address, okay, it's on the paper. Hardy, Virginia, Commonwealth Drive. I've been here 15 and a half years, or -2. Okay, so it was wrong for them to have misled you, for Summit Medical Center to have misled you. I, too, along with you, am very upset that they did that to you. So I feel for you in that position. We are all here to be your advocates, to help you, to prevent all these horrible things that we are all telling you about from coming to our town, because we all know you love our town. We know you do because you serve here. We love our town. When I moved here, my husband and I, Brian, over a decade ago, people asked me from Florida and from the Chicago suburbs about our new town. And I told them it is a wonderful place to raise a family. And it has been. But this really puts a stop to that whole feeling. Isaiah 1 verse 17 says, "Learn to do right, seek justice, defend the oppressed, take up the cause of the fatherless, plead the case of the widow." Proverbs, which is full of so much wisdom, chapter 31, verses 8 and 9 says, "Open your mouth." This is what I'm doing. This is what I seek to do tonight. "Open your mouth for the mute," the ones that are in the womb in this case, "for the rights of all who are destitute." Open your mouth, judge righteously. I plead you to do that. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. I am a wife of about 16 years almost. I have been a mother for over a decade. I worked at Blue Ridge Women's Center as their director of development and recruitment for 2 years, in 2012 to 2014, when I became a stay-at-home mother myself. Fast forward, this is my 3rd year of teaching. I teach influential minds. Thank you.
Danielle Stanley.
Amen.
My name is Daniel Stanley. I live at 1737 Meadows Road, Vinton, Virginia. Wanted to thank you for being here tonight, for allowing us to come out to share our opinions and our views. As everybody here has shared, and so eloquently so, the voice of this community says no, right? The people who live here, the people who vote, the people who pay taxes, the people who have moved here because Vinton isn't a place that people don't find passion in, they don't find community in. You can go to Roanoke City, but they live here. You can go outside of Roanoke, you can go to Lynchburg, Forest, you can go to places all around this country. I know I've lived there, lived in many places around this country. I travel around the world for my occupation. And I most look forward to coming home to Vinton because it feels like home, because there's a peace here. What we're doing today and what you have to decide, and I'm rarely an emotional person, but what you have to decide on is, are we as a community going to be okay with what our jobs today as a community and as leaders are with what happens next? Clearly, from what was shared, somebody felt misled to have gone to this length to say, hey, what should we do next to prevent this from happening, right? If this comes, there's no what's next. There's not going to be a need for a second abortion clinic in the town of Vinton. One's enough, right? I have a 18-month-old daughter. I do not want to explain to her what that place is about. And more importantly, I do not want her to be tricked as she gets older into a poor decision by people who are looking to profit off of a bad decision she made, right? Because it's possible. And I teach my daughter right and wrong. I teach her the right things, right? I teach her God's word, not my opinion. And for her to have the ability to have to see that through and have to have that conversation is not okay. It's not okay for the ones that have had to go through it. It's not okay for us to have to explain that to our children. And it's not the community that I want to be a part of. It's not the community that I move to and I look forward to coming home to every day. So I'm asking you as the leaders of our community, and I'll stand right beside you. I'll stand in front of you if you want me to, right? I have no issue there. I'll put my money where my mouth is and my actions in front of that, right? We do not want this in our community. So please, as our elected officials, right, as people who represent this amazing community that we have, that I tell everybody about, that I travel around the world, please do the right thing. Look at the misleading that was sent your way in this facility and use that as a cornerstone to step this back. Please, thank you for your time and thank you for listening.
Marie Turner.
I'm Reverend Mary Turner. I live at 129 Hirschberger Road, Roanoke, Virginia, number 316. And the zip is 24012. Since 1993, I've been blessed to help organize and currently am president of the Presidential Inaugural Prayer Breakfast. We come together every inauguration morning and have the blessing of praying with our government leaders and with clergy all across the country, not just from Virginia. And so it's a nonpartisan interdenominational organization. But in 2016, we had 16 candidates running for the presidency, just on the side that starts with an R. And I turned the TV off and I began to pray and I said, Lord, what do you have to say about this? And he took me to Deuteronomy 30:19, which says, I've set life and prosperity and I've set death and destruction before the nation. Therefore choose life. And I knew that we needed a pro-life candidate. And you know, here we are, fast forward to 2024. President Trump appointed 3 godly justices who God has used to help reverse the law of the land. In 1994, my case emanated from Wichita, Kansas, and was appealed all the way to the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C., Turner versus USA. And it was a case that attempted to establish personhood for the unborn. And the argument was based on Ronald Reagan's Personhood Proclamation 5761 that says that every American has the right to life from the moment of conception until natural death. And I had, as someone who had previously directed a crisis pregnancy center in North Carolina, I had a lot of knowledge about the baby's life in the womb and when the heartbeat is there and when the milk bud teeth begin to form. And I was challenged to when Governor Finney called for a prayer gathering, of which turned out to be 40,000 people that came from as far away as England and Ireland to pray for an end to late-term abortion in Kansas. And so there were 2,000 arrests of praying Christians during 6 weeks called the Summer of Mercy. You can see it on YouTube. If you just go there and type in Summer of Mercy, CBN did a news article on it. And so fast forward to now, can I ask for an extension?
Ma'am,
of
I'm
60
sorry, your
seconds?
time's up.
All right. Well, God bless you, and I pray you'll make the right decision.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no more, Mayor.
I'm sorry.
There's no more on the list.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. No one else has signed up. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Just state your name and address.
Joan Seifert, 1111 Cherokee Ridge Road, Hardy, 24101. Thank you for this opportunity. Vinton is a really wonderful place to live, work, and play. And I've been here like 22 years, and it is peaceful, and I'm thankful for it. I'm also, I just think about that this area, this town has really cared about the lives of all the generations represented here. And this is a defining moment for Vinton if we're going to care about the future generations. And rather than an abortion center of death, maybe we can start thinking in the direction of let's establish a center to provide and meet the needs of the expectant mother. There are many, many couples and many, many people who would love to adopt a child, and there's a shortage of children. And they would not only be happy to pay for the needs of the expectant mother, but there are many established organizations, as we know already, like the Blue Ridge Center, ready to meet all the needs and help the women so that they don't have to suffer. And now the children whose lives are saved, they will someday not only thank their birth mother, but their adoptive parents, and they will thank Vinton for giving them the opportunity to live, work, and play in a wonderful place like Vinton. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Kevin Flippin, 715 Spruce Street. And I just wanted to say that, with Summit coming in, part of that zoning is being harmonious with the surrounding areas. And it does not seem that that is the case that they'll be bringing to us. It's also that they've talked about property values. I don't see my property value with this place going behind it being increased, but maybe decreased from this. And the difficulty in even selling with having this type of facility behind it. It is obvious with the number of people here against. I don't see how many people are for it. Anybody? There is a stiff issue with this coming into our facility, in our community. So I just ask that you do whatever it takes and let us know how we can help you overturn this and change this, because we're all here to support you and stop it from happening. And Summit should leave. Don't come in. Stop and go away. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
What he said, let us know how we can help you. We'll all back you to stop this.
Okay. All right, anyone else? All right. With that, we'll move on to the next part of the public hearing, which is questions or comments from the council or the planning commission. Planning commission members want to go first? Or you have anything you'd like to add?
Sure. Spoke at the work session just a couple hours ago now at this point. It sounds like a lot of folks in the room are, of course, concerned about a use that may be established on 3rd Street. If that's the case, and it was mentioned by a member of the public that changing the ordinance is not going to prevent another one from coming, because it probably don't need to have 2 in the town versus just 1, I've struggled to find the purpose for this ordinance change. If the purpose is reactionary to a specific use and another one's not going to come, are we not just making it more difficult for a dentist, a Zachary Law DDS, a Carillion Family Clinic from coming into the town to provide services that the folks here might need? There are other uses in the ordinance that would have a larger land use impact in my mind. Gas station is by right that comes to mind in the PD district. I don't think we have anything zoned PD, so we would have some additional controls over that if a rezoning were to come. That would have a more significant impact on traffic, noise, environmental concerns than a clinic might. So I just ask that the town council, the planning commission really consider if painting with a wide brush and requiring an SUP for this specific use for all districts be the case, be a necessary change, or if we can refine it a little lower and establish it in one district or another district by SUP. My focus is on land use. That's, I think, what the planning commission is charged with considering, is what the impact will have on the community, noise, smells, odors, safety, that type of thing. And I don't think a doctor's office or a dentist is one that would have an outsized impact in the town. We have a couple, but they don't provide any more issues than a Bojangles on traffic or something like that. I'm not here to talk about morality. It's not my place as a planning commissioner. My concern is just maybe using too broad of a brush for a very narrow concern.
Thank you. Keith, I kind of jumped in there. If you want to call on your planning commission members.
Oh, you're fine. No,
I apologize, but
no, you're good.
No,
Anyone else? Dave? As part of the planning commission, again, during our work session, we talked about that. And to your point, we could delay this and revisit it. And tomorrow, someone could get a permit to do the exact same thing because we do not have an ordinance going forward that would have a special use permit. So we can delay it and hope and pray with all these people that somebody doesn't get a permit tomorrow. Yeah. So in our work session, we did say we could continue down this path and redact and change going forward if we see fit. However, not doing anything tonight could have impacts for tomorrow. So we're doing every single thing we can within the law. It's not values, it's the law that we are trying to get through to do this. And we're doing this as fast as we possibly can. Hence, the Planning Commission and Town Council is here tonight. This usually would take a 3 to 4 month process. So we are doing everything that we can to, within the law of what we're allowed to do. So with anybody else on the planning commission have nothing else to say, turn it over to the mayor.
All right, thank you, sir. And with that, I will ask council if they have any comments, questions. You know. Okay, and of course, this public hearing is about the zoning. It's not about, unfortunately, the present application for the clinic. This is considering the change to our ordinance that would require a SUP, and I support it personally because I think Keith said it well. If we don't, we could have people knocking on our door tomorrow, and that really that scares me big time.
I know that we did say that there won't, because we'll have one, that another one won't come in here, but you don't know that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I'm sorry.
So is it coming from them to us and then us to vote? Is that?
Once the public hearing is closed, it would be up to the planning commission to consider whether it wants to make a recommendation.
Right. Okay, council, any other questions, comments? All right, if there's nothing further from council, then I will officially close the public hearing. And at this point, we will ask the planning commission to make a recommendation.
Members of the planning commission?
I'd make that we do what we've been asked to do, and that we move ahead changing from right to special use.
Okay. Is that a motion?
Need a second. Second.
You want to take a vote?
Yep. All in favor? Roll call?
Let me get my list. Chairman Lyles,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Benninger,
Yes.
Commissioner McCoy,
No.
Commissioner Reed.
Okay. Sir. So if I understand, then the planning commission has voted to recommend that we move forward with the ordinance change or the SUP, the special use permit.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Is that
and
right,
while
sir?
the motion did not refer to the ordinance specifically, it's clear that that was the intent because it wanted to make a special use permit. So I do think you have the recommendation, one way or the other, you were looking for, given our earlier conversation.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, which brings us to council. You have before you an ordinance that we should consider tonight. Actually, a change in our ordinance, which would include the special use permit we've heard described several times here tonight and several other times. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance change?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance change.
And I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Lyles, second by Councilman McCarty. Council, any further discussion, comment?
Well, I know that as one council member, naturally, we look at the issue at hand that's been here since June. However, I look at this issue to the fact of, for the town, for the whole town of going forward, of the unknown, us getting the unknown answered. We have a lot going on in the town, not only the issue that's here in question tonight, but also other companies, conglomerations that want to come into the town of Benton. And so this gives us the opportunity to make sure, to use one of your comments, Mr. McCoy, to the fact that land that is not being made anymore. Good Lord's done made all the land he's going to make. Is that land in this town going forward is used for the purpose that will allow us to continue to go forward and leave a legacy. So not only am I voting for it just for this issue, but I'm voting for the fact of that to say what the mayor and what Mr. Lyles said elegantly is the fact that if somebody does come in here tomorrow and wants to put something in this town, we have the opportunity to be able to ask the questions. And that's the reason I'm voting for this policy. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, thank you. Anyone else?
Well said.
What's that?
Well said.
Yes, well said, Mr. Vice Mayor. I appreciate those comments, and I certainly agree. It's certainly a timely thing, and so we want to move ahead as quickly as possible. I want to thank staff, too, for making this a priority, and as you mentioned, normally this would take months, so thank you, staff, for moving ahead. So with that, we do have a second, first motion and a second. If you would please call a roll.
Councilmember Lyles?
Yes.
Councilmember McCarty?
Yes.
Councilmember Mullins?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stovall?
Yes.
Mayor Gross?
Yes. All right. So our ordinance will take effect immediately? Good. So anyone comes in tomorrow, we will have the opportunity to invoke the special use permit. I don't see anything else listed under items requiring action. Mr. Town Attorney, anything else?
No report from me, Mr. Mayor.
As always, you're looking good with that tie. Yeah, this guy wears a tie even when he cuts grass. So, Mr. Town Manager.
I have nothing further to come before council. Thank you.
Okay, council, anything further?
I do.
Okay.
Let's go back to the issue in hand. We've heard speakers tonight. We've heard speakers for the last, 2 months. That gentleman right over there, Mr. Carroll, is our attorney. People have spoke of a lawsuit in the city of Richmond. People have spoke that there's pathways for this to stop. People have said there's paperwork. If you have it, and you can prove it if you have it, and we can prove, then that's definitely something that this council will look at. Now, I've had people personally come up to me and make those comments. That goes to the town manager, and then your town manager gets it to the town attorney, and then we research it. So that's where we are naturally as far as that issue is concerned. And I have said this, and it was mentioned tonight. I've said it in the past that, and I'm going to say something that none of you are going to like, but I'm supposed to because I'm an elected official. It's still legal in the Commonwealth of Virginia abortions to be performed. And that's what we fight. That's what we fight every day. Yeah, we talked about Richmond. We talked about the Senate, Virginia, and it goes to the governor's desk. So that's the prayers naturally, and I get the prayers and thank you, but that's what we're faced with. Small town of Benton, that's still truly what we're faced with. So I want to say, we're open. If you want us to listen, you got to give it to us. So send it to us, get it to us. We'll look at it. We'll let our attorney look at it, and we'll go from there. I do thank you. I do thank you on behalf of town council, and on a personal note, if y'all wake up one Friday and think about something to do on a Saturday, come on back to the town because we got a lot going on, and we'd love to have you.
There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Amy, you have anything further?
I just want to thank everybody for coming. I appreciate it. It's a hard issue. It's hard to talk about. It's hard to sit up here and listen to council meeting after council meeting. I can speak for all of us when I say it's been difficult, and we take it seriously, and we are listening, and we are trying to do what we can. And I appreciate everybody coming very much. And how about come back September 7th, this Saturday, and walk in our breast cancer walk, because it's going to be a good time.
There you go.
We're going to do something fun and positive and keep doing it.
There you go.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Ms. McCarty?
I too want to thank you for coming, and please continue praying. And I missed a event earlier. Safe Streets for All is September the 10th at the War Memorial at 3 p.m. So, and I too hope to see you this Saturday at the walk.
It's 5 p.m. 5.
Oh, she wrote it down wrong, but it's 5 p.m. for the Safe Streets for All, September the 10th, the War Memorial, 5 p.m.
But if you get there at 3, you'll just be
You'll be there. Shoot for 3.
I too.
You have saw it coming. You really should have. We know that it's illegal in West Virginia, Tennessee, in this area. It is getting to be a hotbed for abortion clinics. You saw it coming. Same on they wouldn't allow this, and it's right up there. They're not going to have an abortion clinic there.
You've had your opportunity, sir.
I
You've had your opportunity, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've had your opportunity, sir. You have had your opportunity, sir.
I'm still. Know what you're going to do.
We haven't.
Yes, you will say. Okay.
I'll just pass.
Let me just say, and believe it or not, I did not prepare a speech for tonight. I know some of you folks, and some of you have become regular. I've even learned your names, and I appreciate you. I love you. I love what you stand for. And I love the fact that you have the passion to stand up for that. And it breaks my heart. Abortion breaks my heart, whether it's in Benton or anywhere. It breaks my heart. And we've heard several comments tonight that hit pretty close to home for me. Sometimes elected officials are accused of being people pleasers. And I think some of you know that the Bible warns us about that. I'd love to be a people pleaser to this crowd tonight, and I think we have done what we can. I can't sit up here and tell you that we can block that, but as the Vice Mayor said, if there's any way we could, we would, because I think I can speak for councilors. No one up here wants this. No one wants this. At this point, and I have to be honest with you, at this point, I don't know of any way to stop it. There's been a point made tonight that we were deceived. Well, I guess it gets down to a legal definition of being deceived. We have a very, very competent staff, but Summit did not at any time say that they were not going to be performing abortions. So, here again, unfortunately, our country has gotten tied up with legalism. Pardon me, Jeremy. And we have a great attorney here that I like very much. But so I cannot honestly say that our town is deceived. Our code, our ordinances, was like everyone else's. They're a mirror image, whether it's Roanoke City, Roanoke County, Salem, and I suspect none of them want an abortion clinic either. But at this point, as the Vice Mayor pointed out, unless something else comes up, I just see no grounds, no way forward for us on this. I think we've done what we can do, and unfortunately, I'm the one, I guess I have to just finally say, I don't see any way to stop it. For me personally, I never lose hope. I never lose hope. And we know the author of hope. We know where hope comes from. And I would just ask all of you to continue to pray about this situation and pray for council in our town. None of us want this. And power is very, very powerful. We all know that prayer is very powerful. And the only other thing I might say, and I think you realize this, the town of Vinton in no way, no form recruited this business, nor did we support it. I wish I had better news for you folks, because it bothers me deeply. I don't like the idea of being mayor in a town where abortion's going to be performed. I hate it. But I don't know of any other news to deliver to you. Us took an oath. You got to be careful about oaths. Bible talks about that a lot too, doesn't it? Yeah. Taken a few, when I was inducted into the U.S. Army and when I married my beautiful wife and when I got elected. That oath is pretty short and sweet and says to uphold the Constitution, not only of the United States, and thank God Roe versus Wade has been overturned, but also says the laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And at the end of that oath, all of us, we put our hand on the Bible, raise our right hand toward heaven, and we say, "So help me God." So, I guess that's what I'm asking for tonight. So help me God. But I have to deliver the message. I think we've done what we can do. And so let's just keep praying.
May I have 60 seconds, please?
Ma'am, I think we're finished.
Run for mayor, the city of Rome. Because of the pro-life issue and partly because of what's happening.
All right. Council, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to
To adjourn. Is there a second? All in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you, folks.